If you're over 50 and wondering whether it's too late to become healthier, happier, or chase a dream that seems impossible, today's guest is living proof that it's not. Bob Sanderson has spent a lifetime pushing the limits of what's possible, not just as a nationally recognized triathlete, but as someone who continues to inspire others and live with purpose, resilience, and adventure. I'm excited today to have Bob with us to share his story and remind us all the best chapters may still be ahead. Welcome to Life Beyond Limits. I'm Mike Koerner. Welcome to Life Beyond Limits. I am Mike Koerner. I want to thank you for being with me today. And this show is really about trying to open people's minds to become healthier in life over 50 and maybe enjoy life and maybe extend their life a little bit. Our guest today is somebody that's kind of gone beyond limits a little bit. But Bob, I think your story is fascinating, and you're somebody I've known for a long time. And here on Life Beyond Limits with me, Mike Koerner, I want to talk to you a little bit. So again, Bob Sanderson is our guest today, and Bob Sanderson is a triathlete. And when I say triathlete, you've competed in Konas and you've been USA teams, stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
And
Yes.
you've been in triathlons all over Florida, coast, and everywhere in between. So really, with triathlons for you, I don't know. How did this all begin for you? What changed in your life to get you to this point? What was that one brief moment that made you go, I'm going to change my life?
Well, actually, I've had that brief moment many, many times in my life. I was actually in the military, and we had to have a annual physical fitness test, and we had to pass it in order to stay in the military. So every test I took annually, I did not do very well. So that was one moment when I thought I need to start getting in shape a little bit more. And then I was working. I was activated by the military, and I had uh, a lady that took over my position while I was active, and she was at Fort Hays State, uh, uh, majoring in chemistry. Katie Carnes. I don't know if you know her or not, but anyway,
Name
she
sounds familiar.
she she took over my position while I was on active military. So I came back eventually, and she stayed on for another year. Well, she challenged me to a race. And so I said, okay, I'll race you. How about next weekend? Well, she said, oh, I need like 4 weeks to get ready. So she got ready, and then we had a 2-mile race on the indoor track at Fort Hays State University.
Okay.
And she beat me by about 10 seconds. So I said, uh, I need to have revenge. Can we do another event eventually? And I heard about an event at Center for Health Improvement, which was a triathlon.
Hmm.
So I said, okay, I challenge you to the triathlon. So that's when it started. And that was my first triathlon. And that was in 2005. And I, I beat her rather handily. So from there, actually, after that first triathlon, I said I would never do that again. But when it was all over, a couple of days later, I got to thinking about it. And then I signed up for another one 2 weeks later. And I was doing almost 6 of them every month. I would
Six
get
of them.
you could do a triathlon anywhere every weekend if you wanted to back in
Mhm.
those days, uh, back 15 years ago. But now triathlons are kind of far and few between. And but that was my starting point. Yeah.
I will I will tell you this. I was in that same exact triathlon that you're talking about right now. That was my very first triathlon too, and I was not prepared for it.
Yeah.
I was not at all. In fact, I don't know. My wife and my mother-in-law were in the crowd, and I remember when I got done with the whole triathlon, my mother-in-law came up to me and she said, "My God, you were way in the lead on that thing on the swimming, and then all of a sudden you just died out." And I did, because it was my first one, energy,
Oh yeah.
excitement, and I went way out too fast and I just died out. And I don't know
Yeah.
what it was. I tried and I tried on triathlons, and when COVID hit, I just kind of backed off on triathlons
Yeah.
because it was really hard to get into pools in regular hours. And that was
Yeah.
okay with me. That was okay with me. I always seemed on triathlons to get better in the runs, and I'm not sure. Biking, I was average, but now I just love running and long distance running, and it seems to be my thing. Just because to me, it's very therapeutic. So I join you on that. It was my first one. I was think 48, 49 years old at the time. But I started doing exercising and health stuff because of stuff that happened at my job where we got discounts on health insurance if we did fitness activities.
Yeah. Yeah. When I first came off the bike and started to run, uh, the CHI back in 2005, that was the weirdest feeling I've ever had in my life. It was just like rubber legs. They eventually came back, but it right off the bike, that was just the weirdest feeling I've ever had. And I thought, I'll never do that again. But
Well, I know that you,
history s- history history defies me. I'm still going.
yeah, and look where you're at now. Last week, you had the coaching camp with all those little kids, and I was out there when I joined you, and just showing those little kids how to do triathlons and how to do their transitions. That was just a fun thing to do.
That's one of the passions that I have right now is working with youth, and get them, moving up into the triathlon world. I'm working on my actually, I've been certified by USAT, United States, Athletic Triathlon, United States of America Triathlon. I'm certified level 1, and I want to focus on youth triathlon. I really would love to start a youth club in Hayes, Kansas, and kids 7 to 14 years old, and then take them around the region for regional triathlons. I would either do that through USAT, or maybe I could work that with Dave Koyen through the Hayes Rec. But that's one of my passions, is to work with youth. I'm also working with adults. I don't count those out. I really love coaching adults that are new to triathlon, because that's much more exciting to me. They're they learn like little kids. They just gobble up the information. They can't get enough. Always asking questions, always learning. Once they get up to speed and they become very good, they might want to go get a coach, like a professional coach
Mhm.
that would move them up further in the ladder. But right now, I'm coaching one, two, about 6 athletes right now,
That's really
N-
good.
and most of them are new to the triathlon world. Yeah,
Well, my focus here is to really just get people moving. They don't have to, anybody watching or viewing, they don't all have to do triathlons. They can just do a walkathon or just walk around the block or the neighborhood, just trying to get people up to do physical activity or even not even physical activity. I'm into people that are doing a lot of stretching. Me, I stretch at least an hour a day. And I think that's helped prevent a lot of injuries for me over the years. Meditation, I'm big with meditation and just walking and physical fitness. Some days you just don't feel it, and just take the day off and maybe walk a little bit or just do a little bit more around the house is where I'm
yeah.
kind of looking.
I think the general consensus is uh, you don't have to be an elite triathlete, or you don't have to do triathlons, and you don't even have to run long distances. Uh, the general consensus is to get at least 150 minutes per weekend of some kind of exercise, walking, and maybe put in a little bit of high intensity training, maybe just 5 minutes of that. But yeah, walking a little bit. And one thing that's really important for aging adults over 50 years old is strength training, resistance training, to maintain that muscle mass, because we all have that sarcopenia, loss of muscle mass as we get older. And if you can maintain muscle mass, even if you get sick, the most uh, patients that recover the best are the ones that still are maintaining muscle mass. So yeah, like you said, you don't have to go out and do triathlons.
Mm-mm.
Although, if you want to give it a try, I'll sure as heck help you along. And you
Well,
don't have if you've never
back on that
swam before, we can
yeah,
still do it. Yeah,
yeah. Well, back
yeah.
on that muscle mass, one of the things that I've been reading about lately is just trying to, as an older adult, just trying to get your protein levels up. Make sure you're getting enough protein in your daily activities or your daily nutrition. I think that's really important for older adults to keep their muscle mass up.
That's something they would have to discuss with their doctor.
Yes.
For example, me, uh, my endurance activity, I require about uh, anywhere from 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day. And that's that for some people, that may be too much. And that's something they would have to discuss with their doctor. I think the minimum they require is zero point 0.8 grams per kilogram per day. And that doesn't take too much to get that much. And usually they recommend doing that through uh, natural food
Hmm.
rather than protein shakes and things like that. But like I say, that's something they would have to discuss with their doctor.
I would
Yeah.
recommend that too.
Yeah,
Now
it's,
let's
too much protein. I think, I'm not a doctor, and I
nor am I.
may need to be corrected, but, too much protein can affect the, kidney function, the filtration rate. So that's one reason why they need to, talk with their doctor.
That's pretty important there. Now let's
Yeah.
look back to the 40-year-old Bob. Would you have ever guessed that you'd be where you are today with the
Oh,
triathlons and this
no.
fit?
No, not at all. 40 years old, I think I was still farming and ranching when I was 40 years old, and that's about all the time I had was just farming, and that kept me in pretty good shape. But nothing, not cardiorespiratory shape, but more or less muscle mass. But yeah, 40 years old, I had no idea I would be doing this. It's just crazy that I'm doing that now.
Well, one of the things I wanted to ask you, were there times along the road, and I think you mentioned this in the intro a little bit, were there times along the road you said, I'm just going to quit this? This is just too much for me.
No,
Okay.
never have. I never have that. That has not risen in my mind yet at all to do that. One of the things I do uh, is I want to keep a race on my schedule.
Mhm.
Not that I've entered a race, but I put a race on my schedule. Haven't even paid the dues yet to keep me honest and keep me training for something. That that's something I like to do. And I might not make it to the race, but nevertheless, I still was training to potentially race. Well, no, I've never, not yet. I mean, I'm almost 80 years old, and it has not entered my mind yet. I am getting a little bit rickety. There's no doubt about that.
When you say that.
But but my goal is to do Kona, Hawaii, the Ironman World Championship when I'm 80 years old, and that will be in 2028.
Okay, since you brought that up, I'm going to dive right into that one, the Kona. I want you to tell this story because I thought this story was just fascinating. It was the story about you doing Kona a few years ago, where, well, actually, you've done a couple of them. One was stung by the jellyfish, or is it the same one? You were stung by the jellyfish, and another one, you were swimming, and there was a drone overhead that saw the group of you swimming, and there was a dolphin that pushed some sharks away from you all as you guys were swimming.
That's what we heard when we were uh, after the race completed. That was the word going around that uh, some of the volunteers out on the surfboards and boats and things like that said there was a shark in the water, and a pool of dolphins was kind of hurting the shark away. Some people said that it was hurting the shark away from the swimmers, but also dolphins are very territorial. They don't like sharks within their waters. So one or the other. It was shooing the shark away from us, or it was just basically shooing the shark away. And this particular event, Kona, this was back when they were having the women race in Nice, France, and the men were racing in Kona.
Mm.
So this race, no, this was just before. Yeah, it was just the men's race. Okay, so they had 2 weeks after when they typically do it, so it was 2 weeks after the full moon. So the locals there said that that is the time when the jellyfish are the most abundant in the bay. And there were some people that did not finish because of jellyfish stings. They were treating there was, from what I heard, there was hundreds of uh, triathletes that got stung, and they were treating the stings with vinegar. So they ran out of vinegar, and they had to make a run
Oh,
to Walmart to get more vinegar. But anyway, I got within 100 yards of the exit, right by the heart, the reef there, and I got hit by a jellyfish. It was on my left bicep. I'm trying to recall, and it felt kind of weird. It felt like icy hot, like that you put on for strained muscles.
hmm.
So I got out on the bike, and I just didn't feel quite right at all. So I went ahead and finished the bike, and then I got off on the run, and then my arm started getting kind of weak, my left arm. But I kept going, and eventually, after about 6 miles into the run, everything was back to normal.
Wow.
But some people, there was actually a professional triathlete that had to quit because he was extremely allergic to the jellyfish sting. So yeah, that was quite the deal. I don't know, the locals seem must they've lived there for so long. They know exactly what's going to happen. They said this is not a good time to have an Ironman in Kailua Bay, and they were right.
Well, I know you've done all this fitness and all these triathlons, and my next question, I already know the answer to this one, but I want to get it out there. How it has because in my years of doing triathlons and ultra marathons, thank God my wife has been there to support me. She just said when people ask about it, she just says, "Ah, that's Mike's thing," and
Yeah,
I like to. It's my hobby, I guess. But my question for
yeah,
you is, and I know this answer, how your family's been very supportive, because and I say that because I've seen your daughters out there, your granddaughters come out to some of the triathlons that we've run and seen them out there supporting you at the end.
yeah. The first one they went to was Ironman Kansas, and so I was down at the swim start, getting ready to start, and my whole family was there, grandkids, everything, and they hollered at me. And I looked over, and they all had T-shirts on, and on the front of the T-shirts it said, "What about Bob?" That was, I don't know if you've ever seen that movie, but
Yes, it was
that
the
was
Bill
the
Murray
first time.
movie.
And yeah, and ever since then, yeah, they travel with me. They have gone to Kona with me. They've gone to Florida with me several times. All the grandkids go. Yeah, they follow me. They put on shirts uh, that say support crew.
Mhm.
And actually, the support crew is one of the most important things for somebody that is doing these endurance events, especially uh, it, the significant other, husband, wife, supporting that, brothers, sisters, grandkids. That is extremely important in this sport. And
Yeah.
that's one thing that helps you keep going.
Mhm. And I know you say family does that too. Family does. I know my brothers
Yeah.
have supported me when I've run some of
Oh,
these
yeah.
ultra distance marathons. I run a race in Colorado in, in snow before, and it's kind of weird. I've done 50 Ks and 50 miles down in Arizona, and my brothers have helped me, be there and be there at the end and drive me in and out of those national parks and somebody else that's probably been there for me and for you is those support teams too. When these people put on these events, just having the support teams there to help you out, sometimes medical staff and also massage therapists are available afterwards. I've taken advantage of that a couple of times.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's very important to have that support team, uh, especially, you run, for example, you run the 50 miles or you run the 50K. And many times throughout that, it's mind over matter. But then once you get to the finishing chute and the family's there hollering, you get a second win. And sometimes you uh, pick up the pace, run down, high five everybody. If you can visualize the finish, knowing your family's gonna be there, going down the finishing chute, that's a big part of it. That
Mhm.
really helps, yeah.
I had one, and no shame in this, but I had a 50 miler last year that I did, and it was in the mountains of Arizona, and I was doing really good. I got up these mountain peaks, which were huge, and they just sucked it out of me. I had a heart rate at
Yeah.
one point; it was at like 180 or something like that,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I was just walking. It was at 180, and it was just, it really got me. And I made time. I made the times, and I got down to this one point, and I made that time. I took off and I went the wrong way, and nobody
Oh,
stopped
my.
me. So I had to come back 2, 3 miles, and I got way behind the pack. And then it started getting dark, and I'm in the middle of the desert, and I had nothing. I mean, just nothing. And you're hearing rustling in the bushes as you're running. And you're thinking, "Oh God, I'm being tracked by something," and it just
Bear
plays
attack.
with your mind. And then also after it got dark, I just started freezing, and I knew it was going to get cold, so I brought my gloves, and it
Yeah,
just got so bad, and I got to a point where I was like, I think it was like 8 miles before the finish, and I
yeah.
was just shaking and hypothermia, and I just had to get out. It was bad. I think it took a 30-minute hot shower after I get back to the house.
That felt good, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to backtrack just a little bit, Mike, uh, one thing that I really enjoy, uh, when I coach somebody, especially a beginner, is the joy and excitement they experience when they finish the race.
Mhm.
I mean, it's a major accomplishment for somebody that's never finished a triathlon before, whether it be a sprint, Olympic, half Ironman, or even a full Ironman. The joy on their face is just it's just wonderful. And then they can channel, if they're having stress in their life, this is one thing they can channel uh, their energy towards, that gives them some really purpose in life and enjoyment, and also enhances their physical fitness and their and mental well-being. So that's another thing I really enjoy about this sport.
Well, not everybody, as I mentioned a few times, not everybody is going to be out there and doing triathlons like you. But
Oh,
even if they want to do some simple exercises, a lot of times just simple exercises, getting fit, eating a little bit better, getting your mental health straightened out. I think that's a big part of it too. Meditation, exercise, I think will help that, and I think it gives a lot of people a lot of confidence in life as well.
yeah, it does. Like I say, you don't have to go to the extreme to experience a lifetime of wellness. Uh, People would really love. I mean, I know myself. I want to age well, uh, and I try to do that through diet and exercise. And of course, I'm do it to the extreme. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, I agree with you. If they can just do something, 150 minutes a week and maintain a good diet. If they don't know how to maintain a good diet, I would recommend working with a dietitian or something like that. But aging healthy, that's really an important thing, I think, for people to do. And like you say, resistance training, pickleball, uh, basketball, walk, jog,
Mhm.
run one block, walk, jog one block, walk, run, walk, run, walk, run. That's you don't have to be extreme like myself. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Take the dog out and walk too. That's something that
Yeah,
can do.
yeah,
So
heck yeah.
that's another thing there that I think could help out a lot of people. All right, we're gonna shift it a little bit. I'm gonna do a rapid fire round if you're ready for this, okay? So answer
Okay.
this quickly. Favorite race?
Kona, Hawaii.
Okay, got that one.
That's the
Hardest
world
race?
champ.
Hardest race?
I would say Kona, Hawaii. Oh, oh, wait, wait. It's a toss up between Kona, Hawaii and St. George, Utah.
Okay.
Those two answers to that.
Okay, well, that's okay. There's no rules here. Let's see here. Favorite recovery meal?
Watermelon.
I love that. In fact, you and I were talking about that last week to some other triathletes. How about biggest gear mistake?
Biggest what?
Gear mistake. Biggest mistake you made, in maybe your bike or your running or
Oh,
swimming.
okay, yeah, I put a gel, carbohydrate gel in my bike shoe. So when I got out of the swim, I wanted to have a gel, so I forgot
Yeah.
to put it out. Take the gel out of my shoe, and I put my shoe on with my uh, gel. My gel was still in there. It took me about 20 miles before I realized what was going on.
Okay.
Started about that. Yeah,
Oh,
biggest
okay.
mistake
Coffee before or after runs, or no
before
coffee?
and after.
Before and
Before and
after.
after.
I had addiction to the coffee for like 3 or 4 years. I had to have a sugary coffee at least once or twice a day.
No
I backed
sugar.
Well, I backed off of that now. I still do one, maybe two a week. Okay. So there we go. And then
Yeah.
one word that describes endurance to you.
Mind over matter.
That's a sentence, but that worked. So that's our lightning
Yeah.
round. Anything else you have in closing that you'd like to share with people about just staying fit and fit not just in physical, but also mental?
I think that I think 90% of staying physically fit and actually beginning and engaging in some kind of physical activity is 90% your mind. Once you start doing it and if you can just go for 2 weeks and not stop, you might be able to start a habit that might get it going.
Well, very good. We ended strong there. Bob, thank you very much for joining me today. We're going to wrap it up, but I'm glad you were my guest today. One of my first guests. I know my last podcast I did was just me talking about my journey and how I got to this point in life. And I wanted to talk about your journey. I've got some other great guests lined up for us too, as I go along here on my journey. Again, it's Bob Sanderson. Thank you for joining us, triathlete. You could probably follow him somewhere out there. Are you on any of those social media pages?
Facebook and Instagram, you can find me there. Yes.
Oh, all right. Well, thank you, Bob. That's very good. And thank you for spending some time with me. It's Mike Koerner, and this is Life Beyond Limits. Thanks for joining us today.